As you can see, we're with Arla. So when the milk comes out of the parlour, it comes into this jar here. The happy feeder wagon here was bought to feed the dairy cows. And these girls are really loving this silage. It's beautiful stuff. Beautiful, that. Hi guys, welcome to this week's Richard on the Old John Deere. Well, after last week's video I had a comment from Warren Stanley Warren? One or the other. I'm not sure which way around it goes. And he was asking, was I doing a machinery tour or a farm tour? He seemed to be particularly interested in, because we used to be in dairy, what sort of operation we had. So this week I thought I would just do, it's not a full farm tour, it's just basically what we used to do when we were milking cows, what sort of system we had and how it worked. So we'll just have a little look around and I'll show you what we did. So sit back and enjoy this week's video. Thank you. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up. So as you can see, we're with Arla. And this is the tank room. So it's pretty much as it was left. We stopped milking in 2017. Oh, wait a minute, there's a ticket on here. If we have a little look. There. Can you see the date there of the last collection? That was the last collection, the 28th of February 2017. That was our last collection. This is the bulk tank we used to store the milk. That's refrigerated. So there's a refrigeration unit just outside that used to keep this cool. And then this was the washer. After the tanker driver had been and collected the milk, we'd turn this on and it would wash the tank. Tank of water there and detergent down in the bottle there. It would draw some detergent. It would go up through that pipe there, along the pipe, down into the tank, and that would be washed out to keep everything clean and nice, keep your milk fresh, because it was refrigerated and the tank was washed out they used to collect every other day, so every other day the tank would be washed out. And that's the boiler up there that heated the water that we used to circulate through the system after we'd finished to get it all nicely cleaned out. And if we go through this door here, that's the centre of the operation. That's the vacuum pump. All works. That's the pulsation for the pulsators in the parlour. And then if we go through into the parlour here, and this takes us through into the milking parlour where we used to milk the cows. So this is where we milk the cows. We had 6 milk units to milk them. So we'd bring 12 cows in. So the cows would come into the stall here and would be tied up with a chain to keep them in. And then you would take the milker, put it onto the cow, there. And the milk would be caught in the jar here. So we could see how much every cow gave at every milking. And when that cow had finished giving all its milk, it would be let out. And we'd have another one waiting here. So you put the milker, you would let the milker weigh out the jar first, and then you would put the milker onto this one. The milk would go out of the jar and up into these glass pipes, and it would run along into the dairy there. So when the milk comes out of the parlour, it comes into this jar here, and then out of this jar there's a pump which pumped it up this pipe and down into the tank. The tank was refrigerated to keep it down to the appropriate temperature. So that was recorded on the ticket here. Temperature there, 2.2 degrees C. And after they'd been milked, they would be let out, and they would come out of the stall, out this way. And as they came out, they went round this corner and back out into the shed or into the field, depending on the time of year. This area here was the collecting yard, and we would let them in through that gate there. And out in the shed here, we had these were outer parlour feeders we had in here. So I've just taken two. We had two feeders to that side, and we've still got one there that goes to that side. The feed was blown into the cake bin there. The pipe went right out to that corner there. That's the pipe coming down there, look. And the wagon would pull up outside and blow the nuts right up into the tower there. That held about 5.5 ton in that bin. And then it came down into the feeders, and all the cows that would come into the feeder here, they all had an electronic tag in their ears, and these were the sensors here that would detect the number of the cow, and it would get fed the appropriate amount of feed. You could set the computer for them to be fed up to, I think it was 12 feed periods a day, so you could split. You would put in how much cake they needed over the day, and that would be split up into however many feed rations you wanted them to have. We usually worked on about 4 or 5. So they could come 4 or 5 times a day and get fed in here, which was very effective, I think. So them being fed 4 times a day was very effective, because they weren't getting all that feed in one big lump. They were getting it divided into smaller feed, smaller amounts, easier for them to digest. They would be lying in the shed here, and when it moved on to the next feed time, there would be a cow would go in and the feed would rattle, and there would be a queue formed of cows waiting to go in to get their ration of cake. And so that gets them up. After they'd had their cake, they would go and have a drink, go and eat some silage. So it was getting them up and getting them active, and hopefully getting more feed into them so they would produce more milk, which is a good idea, isn't it? Yes. And if we go round the back of the feeders here, in this little box, there we have a few spiders now. But that's the control panel that controlled it, where you could feed in your information as to what they needed. And that there is one of the ear tags that they had. Every cow had one of those in their ear. The Abbey feeder wagon here was bought to feed the dairy cows when we were in dairy. I used to go and pick up a mix from the mill. When we mixed the feed with the silage, that gave us maintenance and about 15 to 20 litres, depending on the silage. And then the extra ones got fed a little bit extra through the outer parlour feeders. If they were given more milk, we would give them a bit extra through the outer parlour feeders, and that system worked really well. We're very happy with that. We had quite a few cows, well over 10,000 litres, so that was in a lactation. 10,000 litre, that's well over 2,000 gallons, isn't it? So you can't complain about that. And the Abbey feeder wagon's never been any bother. I've had it for quite a lot of years now and it's never been any trouble. Apart from when I had the door fell off last year, but we got it fixed, no problem. It was just the bolts that had come out of the runner. I think the heads had worn off inside and then... So we just needed some new bolts in, no problem. So I think that's enough for my cows for tonight. Leave this here, we'll have a little look at the silage, show you how it's coming out this year. So this is this year's silage. It's coming out really well. There is a dry, that's out the dry bit there. I don't know which field that was out of, but it's coming in. There is a line through. I don't know if you can pick it out on the camera, but there's a line through there which is a bit of dry grass. I don't know where it came from. It's all very dry this year anyway, but it does smell really nice and the cows really, they're lapping it up. We did have a few problems along by this wall here. There was a bit of waste down by the wall, whether it's because the wall's porous, it's just a block wall there, or whether it didn't get rolled in, because that would be the last few loads would get pushed up into that corner and along this wall. But it hasn't kept very well. There was quite a lot of waste. I've kind of heaped it up in the corner there, so we've lost a little bit in that corner, but I've still got a shed full of silage which will keep me going, no problem. I would normally expect to be quite a long way further in. The last few years, the shed's only been ran down the slope to about here, so this bay was left empty anyway, so we've used that bay out, but we've still loads left. So we're not going to be short of silage. In fact, I'm sure we'll have some left over when we come to spring. So that's not a problem. But on the whole, I have to say, it's beautiful stuff. Beautiful, that. Just love it. The other thing I would say, normally we put a new sheet on and we put the old one over the top, but this year I decided to try with just one sheet, and as you can see there is just a little bit of average stuff, a little bit of waste maybe, just along the top under the sheet there. It's not all over, it's just, I think the sheet's been a little bit damaged there. But apart from that, it's coming out really well. Really pleased with it, I'm sure. And the cows are loving it, so that's really good. Well, that's about it for this week, guys. Thanks for watching. Hope you've enjoyed this week's video. If you have, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. And please leave a comment in the comment section down here. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button. And if you ring the little bell, every time I put a new video up, you'll get notification. Yes, so you won't miss a thing. Not a thing. And these girls are really loving this silage. They're loving it, loving it, loving it. They're loving it like that. But until next week, this is Richard on the old John Deere saying bye for now. Bye you all. Bye.